Okay, to begin to wrap up, I have taken my this label, New Landscapes of Inequality, from an edited book by Collins, DeLeonardo, and Williams, which they call New Landscapes of Inequality. This book focuses on ethnographies that emphasize the importance of understanding how difference and inequality are continually being formed and reformed, sometimes along familiar contours of ethnicity, language, gender, or class, and sometimes in what they call these new landscapes of inequality. These are landscapes that produce new forms of stigmatization. And this is a summary of their argument. New forms of stigmatization as when certain kinds of people receive new pejorative labels, such as illegal aliens or terrorists. Also where new forms of intimidation arise, such as when community panics arise over the local presence of homosexuals or mosques. Also new forms of legitimation, as when public schools and social services are defunded or working parents cannot make a living wage. Also new forms of pollution, as when oil and gas exploration or liquor stores are allowed near some schools but never allowed near others. And new forms of profit taking, as when bankers but not homeowners or shopkeepers are protected from risk. New landscapes of inequality also form in the shadow of success at overcoming some differences. Roger Lancaster has argued that in the US today, moral victories, such as when a few schools succeed in closing the achievement gap, are used to hide inequalities whose effects will emerge later. Inequalities such as resource differences among schools that compromise students' access to college despite achievement gains in the school. Equity-motivated practices to identify and remediate one difference can hide other inequalities with serious long-term consequences. Alfredo Artiles gave an example of just such a new landscape of inequality using the case of school services for special ed children. It's long been known that identification and placement in special ed directs resources and assistance to students who otherwise would not get them. But at the same time, this arrangement increases segregation, hardens stereotypes, strengthens bureaucratic control, and may disadvantage other students. Artiles shows how George Bush's highly touted No Child Left Behind law, which requires schools to disaggregate student achievement scores by race so that differences are clearly visible and can be monitored and addressed, has this kind of effect. NCLB promotes a reinvigorated justice agenda for schools, which is to reduce the achievement gap by race, but at the same time, it negatively recasts underperforming groups in terms of race and disability, tightening what he calls the race disability knot. It stigmatizes schools that may be doing other things well, and it diminishes teachers' autonomy and prerogative. Ong and St. Louis refer to this situation as the Janus-faced character of difference. While the recognition of difference may be salutary for equalization, this very move also incorporates difference within the existing framework of schooling, hence updating the inequalities that schooling instantiates rather than diminishing them.